Disney Animation Studios Library, the podcast where we, as in TC and I, sit and watch a whole bunch of Disney movies because we thought it'd be fun to do for about a year and a half.
And it has been, and it will continue to be.
Oh, it's been a blast, TC. I am Jeff, and as I have already mentioned, that is TC. Hello, TC.
I am TC.
Yes, you are. Oh man, these last couple episodes of this show are just falling apart so quickly.
It's goofy, like senioritis when high schoolers are like getting to their last semester and they just start goofing off. Because we've taken this very seriously up to this point. We came into this very critically, very analytically minded. We never mispronounced names. We never misquoted anything. We were just never misinformed in general about a person and their relationship to another person in a movie. This has just been very professional, and but now we're reaching the end of things. What did we do today?
Well, today, everybody, we watched the 19. Oh, sorry. Wow,
19. Come on.
Oh. I think I'm just going to stop the show altogether. No, we watched the 2016 movie. Mm-hmm. I wanted to say 1996. The 2016 movie, number 55 on our list, Zootopia.
Zootopia. That's right. Number 55. I believe there's two in 2016, right? Because Moana will also be in 2016.
Yes, exactly. Big Hero 6, last week's episode was in November of 2014. Mm-hmm. So this was the first time, and I think we brought that up last time. This was the first time in almost like 15, 16 movies where Disney skipped a year. And otherwise Disney was cranking them out once a year
for good reason, because the movie we got was not the movie they started. So,
which makes complete sense when I watch this movie.
Well, I'm happy with the movie we got, and I'm very fascinated by the fact that the movie started out as something different. And we'll get into our review in a moment here, but it's worth mentioning up front that this is a product of shifting the entire production halfway. They didn't shut it down. They just took the feedback from their test screenings and realized that they had the wrong protagonist. This movie was originally about Nick Wilde, the snarky fox, and they realized that was not a very likable character compared to Judy Hopps, the eager young upstart cop. And they pivoted the entire movie midway through production, brought in two new directors so that they could still get this thing done in a reasonable amount of time. And bumped Joe Buck, I think his name was down to. Oh, I better get that right. I don't want anyone to be mad that I said the wrong director.
Yeah, you better get it right, TC.
They reallocated assets. They shifted the entire narrative. They created a whole new script and gave us the Zootopia that we ended up seeing. And that's very interesting to me because we have seen this before to varying degrees of success, especially with Lasseter involved shifting Bolt. We saw a mad dash to switch Chicken Little, so you have a successful shift and some would argue a rather unsuccessful shift in the product that we ended up getting. Zootopia, as we will discuss for the next hour or so, TBD if that was a successful shift. But yes, so Jeff, had you seen this movie before?
I had seen this film once before. So watching it, because I always watch this usually the day before we record our podcast episodes. But I watched this film probably I guess it's only a couple years old. So I watched it maybe right after it came out on video. I didn't watch it in theaters, but I had seen it one other time. And I remember thinking at that first time, I was a little confused as to what the movie, what the audience was supposed to be for this film, and just kind of confused about some of the tonal moments of the film, I suppose, because it didn't feel to me like a Disney movie, like or what I guess I was expecting, especially coming off of stuff like Wreck-It Ralph and Big Hero 6 and Frozen,
particularly Frozen,
particularly Frozen at that point, and then you get to this one and you're just kind of like, oh, that's not okay. Interesting. So, but I didn't know if, and we'll go into more of that in a little bit, but I didn't know if my opinion of it was just a first viewing confusion. Like maybe I just misunderstood it, or maybe I missed something in the film on that first viewing, and some time away from it, and a second viewing would help. And spoilers, unfortunately, it didn't.
Oh, all right, interesting. Well, I want to start with a complaint right here, and this will lead into more conversation I'd like to have here. But and I know Brad on our Facebook page comments about this as well. Why did they have to have a musical number to end this with the credits like a freaking DreamWorks movie? It's the thing that bugs me the most about this movie is that, I know that's a very weird thing, but as anyone who's listened to this podcast, you know how I feel about the tropes of DreamWorks and the fact that
TC has a love of all things DreamWorks and Katzenberg. If you guys haven't noticed that,
it feels like the trope that DreamWorks has, which is you end with a pop song, all the characters dancing, right? It's not as obnoxious as something like I'm a Believer or the Minions dancing or the Trolls singing. Like, it's not that exactly, but it still has that it feels out of place that's how they chose to end this movie. When you look at I love the closing credits to Big Hero 6, which is contextual. It builds out the universe in the closing 5 minutes of the credits. If you look at Tangled, where they recount the adventure with the illustrations of the storyboards and whatnot, they have such a ripe and huge world in Zootopia. To end it at just a Shakira concert or Gazelle concert that's a big disappointment for me, and I'm making that complaint up front because I did see this in theaters. This wraps around to my question to you, and I recall being skeptical about this movie because their advertisement campaign felt very DreamWorksy. You had a smug fox taking a selfie in the original teaser for this, and it struck me as very non-Disney feeling at the time, and it wasn't until they did their quote unquote full trailer, but which was it's kind of a standard of Disney now where they just release a scene from the movie and that's their teaser. They had done that with Frozen, where Olaf had a whole thing just being a snowman and come see the movie. Big Hero 6. The way they did it was the police officers, the scene where he's putting the tape on his, where Baymax is putting the tape on his arms, right? We'll get back to that.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that because we realized something after we recorded
last week.
After we finished recording last week's episode that we completely didn't talk about for Big Hero 6.
But what Zootopia ended up doing was they showed the sloth scene was their advertisement, and This is a type of comedy that you're either on board with or you hate. There's no middle ground for torture humor. And torture humor is a joke that goes so long it's not funny and then swings back around to being funny again because they committed to the length of it. And as soon as I saw that trailer, I was like, okay, all right, I'll give this out. We'll see. I'm still a little worried that this might come off not Disney enough. With how they're advertising it, but once watching the movie, I was really impressed by the content that coming with the advent of the Black Lives Matter movement, talking about anti-bullying and inclusion, prejudice, racism, classism. They addressed elements in this movie that I cannot think of in this capacity, I can't think of another American-produced animated film that has done something like this, and I was impressed by that.
Okay. And the one thing sorry, I did not mean to just end the entire awesomeness that you just said with an okay. That wasn't what I meant at all. But you brought up a good point because it is, and I do want to make that clear, even for my opinion as well regarding this film. I'm not a big fan of the movie, and it's mostly because I could not wrap my head around just who the audience was for this and why they did it the way they did it. And you can definitely, it's very clear. I watched the movie with my girlfriend, Meg, again. She unfortunately missed Frozen. I think that was on purpose. But I watched it with her, and she had never seen it. It was her first viewing.
Oh, okay.
And she pointed out all of those moments. All of those, like, wow, that, like the whole, like, Judy's comment that bunny is a word that she can call herself,
Right, right.
but everybody else
A
can't.
bunny can call another bunny cute. But when anyone else
Yes.
does it, oh, and then Clawhouse is like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she pointed out that she went, "Oh, wow, okay, that's what we're doing in this movie." And we kept finding all the times that they did that. And it's one, in my opinion, it's one thing for that sort of thing to be in a movie. It's good to draw attention to it. Well, it's good to draw attention to like like race issue or class issues or anything along those lines. It's good to do that, but I felt like this movie just kept piling it on just constantly. Also, I really feel like this movie didn't know that it was supposed to be a kids comedy and decided to make an adult crime movie from the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, I would question you
Just
in
saying.
that, Jeff. Where have we ever seen a movie in this entire library that is just a kids movie?
Oh, and that's true. And I'm not saying that this movie needed to be this cutesy little film about a bunny that becomes like a police officer. I felt like they leaned more towards a non-kid film because okay, here's the thing. Here's the one like, we've addressed it. We've talked about it before in this podcast, but we get you get a lot of kids movies that have adult jokes or adult references that the adults are going to get and they're only going to get, and it makes the adults laugh, and a lot of times the kids might chuckle at it, but they're not laughing at it for the same reason as the adults do.
Right.
This movie to me honestly felt like it was 90% adult jokes and references and 10% kid stuff.
You know, it's
And I think
yeah.
that might have just threw me for a loop while watching the film both times.
I actually have notes about this very subject. I didn't think we'd get to this quickly in the show, but I will jump on this as well. I don't feel like that this is a classic Disney movie. In a classic Disney family film, it does not have the majority of the elements that make the classic films feel classic. That being said, that there is something that I really admire about this movie, that it did so directly address prejudice and racism and classism, that they did a drug smuggling, character assassination cop drama with anthropomorphic animals. That the social commentary of this movie we have not seen a lot of, if any, like hardly at all in this library. I go back to our conversation we had for Fox and the Hound episode. Fox and the Hound came out during a very tense time in American history. We did the review at a very crucial point in American race history, and the social commentary in that film is there, and it's pretty darn blatant, and it's pretty darn effective. And with Zootopia, I feel the same way, that they didn't shy away from having these, and that is something that is going to turn people off or draw people in. It's something that it's going to the movie's been praised for, and oftentimes what it's been criticized for. I'm gathering from just this short conversation we've had so far that you felt hammered over the head by it.
Yeah.
Whereas I found it impressive that they were willing to find a way to address these issues indirectly, or rather as directly or indirectly as they could without being... I never felt hammered over the head by it, in so much as I know what they're saying. Like, I get, token bunny. I got it. You're right. I get it. That is a very on-the-nose thing to say, but being socially aware of that sort of societal structure in America, I don't know if someone who would get that as quickly... I'm trying to say, what's the nicest way to say it? I don't think dumb people are going to catch on to it. All right, so just to put it as blatantly as possible, I don't feel like that social commentary is as obvious to people who aren't socially conscious, maybe.
Okay.
But to swing it back around, because of that, because they so lean into those themes, those very heavy and deep themes that this country has faced time and time again and continues to face to this day. I think I think that affects whether or not this movie is viewed as a classic family film or not. And I don't think it can be for those reasons. But I'm praising it for those reasons. You see where I'm coming from here, Jeff?
Yeah, and I get it. Because what we have is we have a much more mature Disney film than what we have seen in, I mean, as of late, at least as of like the last 15 or so films that were on this list. We've definitely had that kind of like redevelopment and trying to figure out some new stuff, and Disney trying to like kind of find their way again. And we do have some very deep and emotional stories and films that we've watched, but we haven't had one like this.
No.
I mean, I don't even actually. I'm trying to think like even if we've had one like this on the list. Period.
No, I don't. The closest I can think of is Fox and the Hound in terms of talking so directly about social issues.
Right.
While still finding a fun way to approach it in terms of making it an 80s, 90s cop drama.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the fact that it was that type of, or that it was that's what they were referencing. The fact that there's literally a 10-minute Godfather spoof in the middle of this film.
Yeah.
But then like I don't know what 10 minutes prior, there's a scene where a sloth talks very slowly and is completely ridiculous and silly.
Oh, I see. Okay,
but the fact
you're looking at the tonal inconsistency of that.
Well, I mean, it's weird, but I do appreciate what they were doing with the film, with it being that approach. It's so weird and it feels so out of place for Disney to go this far in to the 90s cop drama. Unfortunately, and this is kind of this. We're all over the place for this week's episode, but meh, I don't care. Senioritis, man. But the biggest thing is and see now I just lost my own train of thought with that. Should not have interrupted myself. But oh dang!
I'll let you think about it. This is the antithesis of the animated sequences in the not part of this library Song of the South. Song of the South doing the Briar Rabbit sequences and the animated sequences in that half animated, half live action film is very deep Southern cliches and racist. To have a character like Briar Rabbit get tricked by I'm going to say it, tar baby. Jeez, yeah. Disney, what were you thinking?
Holy cow!
And highly criticized. It's one of the stains on the Disney studio. It's not part of this library. I haven't got a tweet about that in a long time. But
people finally gave up.
This is the antithesis of that, because a lot of the criticisms that Song of the South is given in terms of what they completely ignored and what they did so wrong, Zootopia addressed directly to essentially create race issues with these anthropomorphic animals was their intent. They somewhere along the line when they switched from the movie it was going to be to the movie that it is, they decided let's say something. Let's make this about more than just a bunny cop and a con man fox, which could have been a perfectly fine movie, but in this revival era, trying to set themselves apart from their contemporaries, even setting themselves apart from Pixar, I applaud them for doing this, because when you look at the Pixar films, the one that seems to have the most social commentary is the worst one, and it's Cars 2. Cars 2 is about oil, and that's not a great movie. Pixar's strength lies in their psychological conversations and their emotional conversations. And by Zootopia addressing societal talking points, it sets themselves. This does not feel like a Pixar movie, and it continues that trend that Disney is creating in this revival era of having their own voice, and to a degree of success that this movie has. If this hadn't come out the same year as Moana, it probably would have won Best Picture easily. Did it win Best Picture? I better check that.
No, as far as I'm aware of, it did not win Best Picture. I believe
Moana did.
I think Moana did. Yeah. Oh wait,
Checking.
No, I'm wrong.
Zootopia won it?
I am wrong. It won.
Okay, all right. Well, that...
It won the Academy Award, Golden Globe, Movie
Okay.
Choice Award, and Annie Award for Best Animated Feature Film.
Do your fact-checking before you say things, TC. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who's in my room? Whose voice was that? But that being said, it's a perfectly timely film. There was no better time for this movie to come out and talk about these things than 2016. And I feel like it still resonates with people, though to go back to what I said, it's not a classic, and it won't be a classic because it doesn't have... It's too complex. It's doing too much, and it's trying to say too much to the detriment of this being a movie that is whimsical and fun. This feels like a backhanded compliment, but if it was a simpler film, if it maybe had some musical numbers that weren't Shakira... I don't like Shakira. I don't like Shakira to begin with, so I think that's why I don't like... Although the lyrics to that song are really good.
See? And you know who was one of the main writers on it?
No.
Sia.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Quick side tangent, or a quick tangent there. Because Meg and I were sitting watching the end of this movie, and when the song came up, she went, "Shakira's singing this?" And I went, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm not," and I said pretty much the same thing as you did. I'm like, I'm not a huge Shakira fan, but I don't know. There's something about it that's kind of catchy. And then it was the credit that came up, and it's like it was written by Sia. She went, "Oh, Sia wrote it." I went, "That's why I like it. It's because I like Sia. It's catchy, and she writes catchy music." I'm like, "Oh, it makes sense now. I get it."
Well, the fact that this movie has a distinct voice continues through this era that we're in now, and we're so fresh out of this. It's hard to look at this through any sort of nostalgia, which is certainly not the problem, but something we've had to consider in watching these movies because they're so new that it's
because. No, I was saying for the record, this movie came out like from when we were recording this episode, literally just over 2 months ago or 2 years ago.
2 months ago. We're from the
Ooh, we recorded this episode first.
Well, let's move away from just the broad strokes of this, and let's get a little more into some of the details of this. I certainly want to keep hearing from you, Jeff, about the things you didn't like per se, because it sounds like you're far more critical of the movie than I am right now. I'm just gonna jump at my first note here. This with the opening play this might be the best exposition dump I've ever seen. It's not an omniscient narrator reading a book. They don't establish it through some song and dance number. It's just this little girl telling all the exposition you need to set up the universe. My favorite part is the kid playing the piano and doing the sound design.
Yes, that part is that kid stole the show for me and stole that first 5 minutes of the film because I kept waiting for them to cut back to him. Like, what's he gonna do this time? What faces is he gonna make? Come back.
It's great. I love that. I love that sequence where it establishes the universe and then establish the journey that Judy Hopps is going to go on is her conversation with her parents and getting scratched in the face by Gideon Gray, the fox. And I mean, structurally, it's great. It's she stands up for a sheep against a fox at the beginning of the movie. And at the end of the movie, she stands up for a fox against a sheep. That's some great call and response right there.
I will say this. Going back just briefly, all the stuff we talked about just like the tone of this film and the topics that it covers. If anything, the first 5 minutes of this film definitely sets the stage for how this movie is going to be.
Yeah.
Because we get that opening play. First off, that opening play that little Judy did, I am very surprised there was not a teacher in that school that went, maybe can we see this before you put it on? We feel like this. We have a note. We have a couple notes here.
It's the talent show moment from The Simpsons where the little kid goes out and they're like, "My ding-a-ling! My ding-a-ling!" All right, this song is over.
It's like nobody checked this beforehand.
Hey, great production value.
But having said that, that sequence, and then the scene where she stands up for the sheep and gets attacked and basically gets cut, by the Fox character. That definitely sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Because if you went into this thinking it's going to be a little kids movie, which in theory, you and which that's what I was on my way of talking about when I forgot earlier, but I remembered and I wrote it down. But a lot of Disney movies, you go into it going like, oh, this is supposed to be for kids. I should be able to show like a 3 and a 4-year-old this movie, and they should hopefully enjoy themselves. But there is just a tone for that first 5-10 minutes that's a lot more intense and a lot darker in a degree than you usually get in a Disney movie. Now, I'm not saying that Disney movies don't have dark moments. Aladdin, or in the opening sequence of the opening sequence of Aladdin, when Jafar lets that
Poor
thief
guy
basically die inside of the cave. Like, dang.
Hey,
you
can go further. Look at
dark,
the opening of Tarzan. You get to see the cheetah kill the parents, and a baby dies. A baby ape dies.
You get that. You get those moments. But this film definitely just that it did not mess around. It wanted you to know, like, nope, not a normal Disney movie. We're going a little darker with this, so prepare yourself.
And they went
But having said that, very well done. It is very well done in what it does.
It does set the stage for everything. Literally, it sets the stage for everything that's going to play out in the film, even the comedy, because there are some good highbrow jokes in this. The parents talking about geez, I totally just blanked on the joke I was going to reference. But there's this movie, background-wise, I don't know if there's more complex backgrounds of looking at all the details hidden in the signs and what characters are doing. It's an impressive amount of work, detail work, happening in the backgrounds of things. But the comedy of this, despite its heavy content at the very beginning, there's some really good jokes in this.
There's also a lot of visual gags, like those visual jokes. There's a lot of puns, of products, food, and things like I just wrote down a couple of them, like the Fur Fighters was one of the bands on her iPod. Lucky Chomps
instead of Lucky Charms.
Instead of Lucky Charms. On her phone, it's a carrot with a bite out of it instead of an apple.
Oh, I didn't catch
with
that
a bite
one.
on it. And this is the one that I saw that I geeked out with it. It's a tiny little detail, but her Judy's cell phone company. So like in the upper left hand corner of your cell phone, where it usually says like who your provider
like
is,
T-Mobile or AT&T or whatever.
Yeah, it's PB&J.
PB&J.
It's instead of
AT&T, it's PB&J.
I read that and I went, okay, see, now that I like those little jokes like that. Somebody or like a small group of people sat in a room for probably a week and literally just came up with animal puns for everything.
Well, there's even beyond the joke, like the population of Bunnyville or whatever escalating as she's leaving town. But then there's a little more highbrow jokes, like touching Bellwether's hair. It's like, dude, you can't touch a sheep's hair. Are you kidding me? Like, that's a reference to never touching a black girl's hair, right?
Yep.
That's a little more highbrow, or I don't know if highbrow. It's a little. You have to have a certain level of understanding to catch what that joke's even about.
Right.
And even like the quick wit of Nick Wilde, like when Judy is saying, tax evader, you don't have a permit for sales, and you lied about redwoods. He pulls out his certificates, like he's covered all his bases as a con man. And like even what about you said it was redwood. It was red wood, space in the middle. Not a lie. Like there's a lot of quick wit like that, and Jason Bateman being the one delivering it is perfect. He plays that smarmy character quite well.
Very, very well done. There was a couple moments though in the film where I kind of felt like his delivery was making me a little sleepy, because he is almost entirely through the film, and this is a lot of Jason Bateman. That's the type. That's just how he acts. That's what he does a lot of times, not always, but he does that. Well, just very quiet and just kind of like talking like this the entire time, like with no real like energy or excitement coming out of him. He just does that very, very well.
That smugness, maybe. Are you saying that if this was done maybe a few decades earlier, that Bing Crosby would have been the voice of Nick Wilde?
Yep. He would have absolutely. because it would have been just that smooth talking, like, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. That's what I do.
I'm just a city fox doing city fox things.
Boo, 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 boo.
Well, here's a joke that confirms a theory you had from last week. We can now confirm that the pigeon from Big Hero 6 was a Goodfeathers reference, and that the pigeons in Bolt were intentionally Goodfeathers references. I'm saying this is verified by the fact that the voice of Mr. Big, the Godfather shrew, is Maurice Lamarck, who is the voice of the God Pigeon from Animaniacs. So that seems to me all the confirmation we need that the references we've had earlier to the Animaniacs that's it. That those were references. Those were not like just coincidence.
At last, we have official confirmation.
I don't know how I feel about the Godfather reference. That is, it works. I like how it pays itself off later in the movies twice, like by saving the daughter's life by the crushing donut from the little rodentia sequence, and that they then tie it back around to basically threatening Duke Weaselton's life to get information. Like I appreciated that element of it, but I also feel like is that a lazy joke to have a Godfather homage?
Because see, and here's the thing, and that's where I'm torn. I love my movies, and I love when a show or particularly a movie might do a spoof or like a reference or an homage to another film. But it has to be done. It has to be done where it makes sense within the context of the film. And this one, it's not like, oh, they're trying to kind of be the Godfather. I mean, the house is a replica of the Godfather house.
Yeah, they're quoting lines directly. Yeah.
Yeah. And in a movie where we haven't had anything else like that, and we're I think it was like 45 minutes into the film, and there hasn't been something like that, to then suddenly drop in a reference to a movie that at this point in time is
40 years old.
40 plus years old. Like, okay, yeah, it's The Godfather, and a lot of people know The Godfather, and even if you haven't ever seen the movie, you kind of know that scene in there where it's the whole, you kind of know at least who The Godfather is, and you get it. But I don't think it was necessary for it to be such an homage to Godfather for 10 minutes worth of movie time or 15 minutes worth of a film just to kind of further the plot a little bit. They could have done it completely different. Yeah, and it would have probably still been okay.
I'm torn because it does work rather well in terms of moving Judy and Nick through the plot, or specifically Judy through her investigation. But it's such a, I don't know, it's a derivative reference is what it is, and that rubs me a little bit the wrong way. Particularly because they have found much cleverer jokes in this. I already referenced Duke Weaselton, voiced by Alan Tudyk, who's doing an impression of Steve Buscemi, right? Like he's doing a Steve Buscemi voice.
Because even this second viewing, when I watched it, I went, "Oh, I completely forgot Steve Buscemi was in this movie. Oh, it's funny they cast him as like a weasel. That's Alan Tudyk."
So, because here's the thing,
so Alan Tudyk's doing Steve Buscemi.
Going so far as making him sound like Steve Buscemi. Why do a Godfather reference? Why not do a Sopranos reference? You can't rewrite history, obviously.
It would have been more topical.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is. Actually, maybe it is better to do a Godfather reference than a Soprano reference. But I like the Duke. She calls him Duke Weaselton, and he corrects her and says it's Weaselton. But I like the DVDs he has in front of him.
Yes. See, and that's a funny joke. The fact that it's all the Disney movies from. Like, even the ones that haven't been released yet.
Moana was on there. And can we pour one out for Gigantic, the ceased production Jack and the Beanstalk movie that they were working on that was going to be next in this library after Moana, that they shut down production on, sadly. But Gigantic is one of the DVDs he has there.
I just want to know why at this point Disney feels they need to hire Alan Tudyk to do voices that sound like other celebrities. It's because we had him doing Steve Wynn. Oh my goodness, not Steve Wynn. Oh,
Ed.
oh my Edwin.
I was going to let you get it,
Thank
but
you.
we only have so much time to talk.
Dang it. We only have so much, and I've already wasted so many minutes today just mumbling and stammering over my own dang words. Oh, Jeff's tired, everybody. Okay,
So
it was a
they
long
hired him to
weekend.
do Edwin. They hired him to do Steve Buscemi. I don't care. I love that Alan Tudyk continues
I
to
like
do
listening
this.
to him. Yeah,
You can't say he's doing an impression of anyone in the next one. So there's that.
true. Is he?
He's hey the rooster in the next one.
That's
anyway,
That's right.
I like the dominoes fall in this movie. And we often will look at the structure of a screenplay and the story of the movies as we've reviewed them over the course of this library, and it's a complex mystery. And it's funny because I mentioned last week that all the Harry Potter movies are mysteries. It appears to me, it seems to me that some of the best fantasy and adventure genre films are inherently mystery movies, and this is a mystery movie. It's not exactly an assassination plot, but it sort of is. There's a missing person plot. She's a cop out to prove herself, and she has to follow the clues using her wit and Nick Wilde's con man abilities to unravel this mystery. And she gets in over her head. She pinpoints the wrong thing, and then it comes back around. This has a lot of noir elements to it, which, from a Disney library perspective, we haven't really seen before.
Right. And I almost wonder, well, no, because usually you can't do just a single genre these days. You got to mix it with other stuff. So what their mixture was probably correct. I was just gonna say I would have really loved to have seen them to go full blown noir.
Oh, yeah.
Like with this film. And just make it be kind of that old school 1930s, 1940s,
Gumshoe,
like Maltese Falcon, Gumshoe type film. Like I would have enjoyed that, but we would have gotten into a bigger issue because people would have really been like, "What the crap is this?"
Yeah, I don't know.
Like at least the one that we have is better than going full blown.
Yeah, that's a really tough ask of at least this library. Really trying to do noir is already difficult because so many people get that genre wrong. Some of the best noir movies don't visually necessarily follow the tropes, don't make it black and white, don't have the smoking detective. You can have Rick Deckard chasing replicants, or even Ryan Gosling's character chasing replicants, or you can have the movie Brick by Rian Johnson, which stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is a noir set in contemporary high school. But then you can have poorly done noir stuff like the second Sin City, and some would argue the first one. It's oftentimes that's a genre that's it's difficult to pull off, and you can find some success in really leaning into those tropes. But I feel it's a more difficult genre than some people realize. So by going more towards Training Day meets, I don't know, what would this be? I guess Robin Hood. The Disney Robin. Like that
the Disney Robin Hood specifically.
Coming out of the noir and going more towards the 70s, 80 cop drama, I think was a wiser choice. Although, come to think of it, it might be interesting to see someone, maybe Pixar, maybe Disney, attempt to pull off a full-on noir. I don't know.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be tough, though.
It, like you said, does ask it does ask a lot from the filmmakers, but it does also ask a lot from the movie goers themselves, because that's something like for them to release a full on noir movie. Doesn't matter, even if it is Pixar that does it, who tends to nail genres and their films very well across the board. Not all the time, but for the most part.
I think the most you could ask for would be a short. I think shorts, in terms of noir, I think shorts tend to be more successful because it's you get in, get out with the tropes, and you've stayed.
Because you get a lot of audiences nowadays that are going to watch a noir film and they're not going to get it.
Yeah, plus leaning so hard in that genre as opposed to the genre we got, which is this cop adventure film, this buddy cop adventure film. You can't do nearly half of what they ended up doing in here. You could do the Godfather stuff or the God Shrew or whatever, the Mr. Big sequence, but you could never do the sloth sequence in This movie. Let's talk about the sloth sequence. Let's get away.
Can we talk about
Let's
that,
stop
please?
talking about the noir elements of this and talk about the sloth sequence. So, I said up front that this is a type of humor you either love or you hate, and torture humor, when you do it right, oh man, I love jokes that go on too long and then swing back around. The commitment of a joke is, oh man. So
Well, and what I think, I see, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I may not have enjoyed a good portion of this film, or I just wasn't on board with it, this sloth sequence just made me laugh very, very hard, very well, very much. I am a big lover of stuff like this, like the again, okay, connecting it back to like last week with Big Hero 6, the sequence that we didn't talk about, but the sequence of Baymax's arm, like he reinflates it and it's just blowing out of the air, and he sits there for a good solid 4 seconds and just looks at his arm blowing the air out, and then looks down at the tape, and then reaches for the tape, and then puts one on, and then looks at, like, the fact that they let that go out. That's brilliant to me.
Yep.
The sloth scene, they definitely pushed it to its absolute limit, but it wasn't just and this is why it works. It wasn't just waiting for the sloth to respond. It was also Judy's comments while waiting for the sloth to respond, and her facial her facial expressions.
Yeah.
That's what did it, because they pushed that pause as long as possible, but they still are giving you another joke in the meantime while you're waiting for the last joke.
She's the one being tortured.
Yes. And then it's funny because then it kind of takes your mind off the fact that, holy cow, this sloth has not answered entirely. It took this sloth like a minute and a half to answer its question, because you're laughing at Judy freaking out over how long it's taking them to respond. And that was just very well done on their part.
It's a comedic element that Stephen Fry, if anyone's familiar with the British comedian Stephen Fry, has a very good explanation on the difference between American comedians and British comedians. Long story short, British comedians want to be the butt of the joke. They want to be Judy, whereas Americans want to be Nick, just poking and prodding and making this go on for too long. Just in general, when you think of classic British comedies versus classic American comedies, and I, for one, you're right on. Judy has all the comedy in that because of her reaction. That's such a great sequence. It's like the cop sitting at the table in the police station in Big Hero 6 who's just watching this scene play out as Baymax is just obliviously fixing himself. That's solid. That is some solid humor.
And it's so, and the thing is, I mean, that maybe that says a lot, because I do like a lot of my British humor. I do enjoy British programming a lot, and I would much rather be Judy in that scene, because that would be so much fun. First off, it'd be fun to play, and also she is getting the laughs. It's not the sloth; she is getting the laughs in that sequence.
We did
just her, like, especially when she lists off the license plate, and the sloth just says, yeah. And so
we did get a tweet from and she says Kristen Bell gets to voice the female sloth in that scene, which is true. And I don't know if you're aware of this, Jeff, but Kristen Bell loves sloths. For those of you, if you're ever having a bad day, I highly recommend one of my favorite feel-good YouTube videos. It's Kristen Bell reacting to a baby sloth. If you see,
I think I've seen.
Oh
this
my
video.
gosh!
I've seen that. Oh yes, I have. Because she wasn't she like on like pain meds or something when she was
no. She was just
was
so
it just her actually
overwhelmed that a sloth was in the house. She was being interviewed on Ellen. Please check this out. I mean, I don't know if you want to throw it up on the website when we post this episode.
You know what, guys? Just for everybody out there, I'm gonna throw it up onto the YouTube, onto our Facebook, onto our the page for this particular episode, and you guys can watch it on there on the Ghost Hat website, because I just have to.
So the tweet from in reference to Kristen Bell getting to her lifelong dream, of course, to be a sloth, is worth mentioning there. Another gag I really like is the little elephant sidekick for Nick when they're getting the jumbo pops. Like how his whole scam is great, but that little essentially like baby Herman, a full grown adult who looks like a baby,
Yes.
who's scamming with Nick is great. I love the first time she sees it when she first puts it all together and he's driving. You kiss me again, I'll kill you.
Very well done, and just again, it's so cute. He is so cute as the little baby elephant, and like
you give her a little toot there, buddy.
I love it.
Yeah, the little Rodentia sequence when Judy is chasing Duke Weaselton as he's he's stolen some turnips or whatever. Through that, I love that all the miniature rodent size things like tipping over the buildings. It's a great chase sequence.
It is. Oh, it definitely is. That sequence is a blast to watch. And I was trying to figure out why. Like, why is that so entertaining? Is it just because it's two giant people basically running around this tiny little model city? Like, is that why it's funny?
Yeah, it just works so well.
It's so good.
I don't, what this movie has so much going for it. I understand your complaints, Jeff, but I watch this movie and I continue to just appreciate all the little details that went into this, the humor, the details in the humor, the details in the plot structure, even the twist ending, which doesn't really. It's another twist ending. We've once again in this revival era of having to have a twist. Bellwether being the villain in the end. She's got a pretty solid plan, and she would have gotten away with it.
If it hadn't been for those two meddling, they're not goats. Otherwise, kids would have worked. Two meddling animals. Animal puns. I can do them too, guys. Disney, hire me for your sequel to this movie.
Question mark. I also like that the message behind being told you can only be what you are. That very cynical, the world's going to crush you. Everyone comes to Zootopia thinking they're going to live their dreams, but guess what? You're just going to be crushed by him. Nick was right. Judy did exactly what he predicted. She ended up going back to the farm to be with her parents. But overcoming that being told you are this, you can't be anything else. I love that message of this movie, that you don't have to be what you are. You can at least hope to achieve to be something more. You can be a little elephant if you want to be an elephant. Toot toot. You can be a bunny cop if you want to be a bunny cop.
So having said that, I want that's a good segue into what we have talked about in the past for some of these episodes, and it's being that would you show this to kids?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Let's discuss.
So would you show, like, would you sit down a couple little kids and make them watch this movie? Or is this movie more geared towards an older, like, child, like an older age for the children, in order for them to actually sit down and properly enjoy it?
Honestly, this is a tough call. And this goes to what I was saying earlier, that because it doesn't follow the traditional classic animated family film tropes that we've seen in this library before. It doesn't have the musical numbers. It doesn't have the wacky sidekick character. It doesn't have a simple universal story. These themes are quite universal, but it's almost too complex. That though a kid might be able to sit down and enjoy the visuals of this movie, it doesn't have the breakneck pace or the kinetic energy of a lot of the other movies that we would definitely recommend watching. If you look at Tangled, if you look at Big Hero 6, or if you go to the more classic, if you want to go back to Little Mermaid, or even going back further to something like The Jungle Book, which Jeff hates, but I'm going to recommend for kids anyway. That this movie, I don't know if the target audience. I don't know if I would call the I do know. I won't say that the target audience of this is children and their families. This is an animated film for more mature minds. This is an animated film for lovers of animation that have grown up. Certainly, you could find kids who would be amused by this, because it is a very good-looking movie. I mean, it always goes without saying.
It is,
but
it's gorgeous.
This movie
looking.
Looks so good. The textures in this film, the movement of these characters. Disney is on another level on moving these characters around.
Yeah.
Look, okay,
Yep.
I want to go. The movie that came out nearly simultaneously with this was Illumination's Sing. Illumination's Sing is a animated animal karaoke movie, and
Right.
it is the low hanging fruit, like lowest common denominator entertainment that your kid can just zone out to. I get it. I completely understand why a movie like Sing can amuse the people it amuses, but the complexity of Zootopia is just in another league compared to something like Sing. Sing is bare bones plot. It is just karaoke. Zootopia is trying to say something, and just visually, the way these animals move, the physicality of the visual puns of Zootopia are far more interesting and entertaining. So I would hope if you had to choose between these two movies, put on Zootopia. But I'm torn, Jeff. I'm so torn. You need to.
I do feel like just saying, going off of what you were just saying, like how visually just amazing this film is. I feel like that first, like after Judy leaves the academy for Zootopia, her train ride through the different like zones of the Zootopia. So you have like the desert land, you have the jungle land, you have the snow biome. I'm sitting there going like, this is just Disney trying to show off its computer skills. Like they're just trying to show,
really good.
Look at these amazing environments we can do. Because when they go to talk to, was it the panther or the jaguar that ends up turning on him in the jungle scene,
Yes,
and then that because it's like raining, so things are just kind of wet and jungly, and it's at nighttime. Like that's gorgeous. Just the environment alone is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Let alone the animation that they did for the characters. That's fantastic. That's spot on. And it's funny just in 10 years to go from Chicken Little, or sorry, to go from, oh my goodness, not Chicken Little. No, yeah, Chicken Little.
Chicken Little was
right?
the first one. Yeah, the first CG one.
Yep. But to go from like Chicken Little to this, and just the level of detail and complexity that these movies have gotten in the CG world as they went along, and just how well they've nailed, and we've talked about this before, but they nailed that hand-drawn Looney Tunes cartoon-esque like physicality to the characters. They get it. They got that. Not an issue.
We got a great tweet from Dave Geiser, a listener to Technophiles podcast.
Yes.
Dave Geiser, he had sent us a video of how the snow animation for Disney. It's a behind the scenes. I don't know if you caught that. He did tag you in it, which
I did see
yes,
it. Yep.
Dave, thank you for the tweet. But
Thank you, Dave.
the amount of work that they put into creating the rain and the snow and the wind and the environments of these movies is just astounding. All that being said, though, Jeff, that's for us. No kid is going to sit down and watch a movie like Zootopia and think, wow, that rain sequence is sure animated. No, that is a level of technicality that kid doesn't give a damn about.
Right.
So
right.
you asking, would I show this to a kid? I don't think I would unless I wanted to watch it. And basically then it's for me. It's not for the kid. Jeff, you have nieces. You answer. I asked the question to you. Would you? Like, do you think this is a movie for kids?
So I don't remember watching this one with my nieces. I think this is one that I watched on my own. I wasn't able to see it with them, but I do know they did watch it. And from what my sister was telling me, it definitely did not grab their attention as much as even like Big Hero 6 did. You know, I personally, I don't think I would. I wouldn't show this movie to like 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds because they're not gonna have the patience for it. Because it's not the silly, goofy, flashy film that Big Hero 6, Frozen, Tangled, any of the ones from the last handful of years prior to it. This is not like one of those movies. And just from the time with my nieces and my time around children of that same age, yeah, they're not gonna care. They're gonna get up and walk away. They're not gonna understand. They're not gonna be laughing at it because they're not gonna get why there's not a lot of jokes in it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as a Disney movie, and I think this is where I struggle with why I do not care for this movie as much. I get the need and the desire for them to make a little more of a mature film and to address some of these issues, these big, strong social issues, but it's still a Disney movie, and you have to remember who your audience is, and your audience is not us. technically. Not for a lot of these movies. You know, you got to be able to entertain kids, because kids and families are who are going to be coming to the theaters to see this. I personally think this movie is too scary for kids of a younger age, because some of those attacks, there's jump scares in this movie.
Oh yeah,
some of the attacks on like Judy, or when they're in the research facility, and then there's the animals that are when they go find the otter. That stuff's kind of scary. That's
pretty
not
intense.
good for a little kid.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And it comes back to that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It comes back to the maturity of this film is why I enjoy it, but I can see why that is not going to appeal to the audience that might think they're getting into something they weren't expecting. Honestly, right. Judy and Nick's relationship is one of I love the development of their relationship, how it ends. I think it's really it's this very sweet, mature love story that we've again talking about changing the standard of this library. This isn't a relationship we've seen developed at this level before. If you look at something like Bernard and Miss Bianca, if you go through the two Rescuer films, if you look at Flynn and Rapunzel, how they come together as a coupling. I'll go Jasmine and Aladdin, Beast and Belle. Like there are two people who are quite different who find their way to each other. Judy and Nick's journey to becoming friends and even saying they love each other in the end I love that. It's beautiful that they went through this journey together and in a far more mature fashion and a far more developed relationship than we've seen from most of the movies in this entire library, which certainly lean more into the falling in love in one day situation. This is over the course of a very intense situation, then months after the fact, and we don't even know how long they've been partners at that point.
Right. Yeah, because he obviously went through Police Academy, and Police Academy tends to last for a little
like
while.
A year.
That's the months, right? Yeah, exactly. If I've learned anything from those movies, Police Academy lasts at least a year, guys.
Police Academy feels like years and years. But I really like that they end up together in the end as partners and saying to each other that they love each other, whether that's a platonic love or a romantic love. That's left up to me to decide, or the audience to decide, and I think that's neat. And going further into the social commentary or digging into race relations, that essentially we're looking at a mixed race couple that ends up together in the end. Yeah. It's what one might even say are natural born enemies ending up together in the end, and I really like that. That's neat.
And with all of that said, that you just helped me reinforce my theory that this movie should be viewed by, I'd say, the youngest that I'd put a kid down in front of it would be somebody like 12, 13 years old.
Someone at the level of maturity that could potentially have a conversation about maybe not the deepest themes in this movie, but might be at least aware enough to go, or glean the subtext and absorb it and be able to apply it into their real life. I'm gonna.
But really, when it comes down to it, the target audience is 35 years old.
Yes, yep, you got me.
Just saying. That's what that's target is. Well, TC, I do want to just bring up real quick. I have one trope for this one.
Okay.
I know we're not necessarily done with it. I just want to bring it up before I forget.
I'm gonna say this doesn't count.
Have another quick.
But go ahead.
Why not? Because you totally know what my trope is.
Go ahead.
But I think it completely counts because they're wearing clothes, TC.
Mm-hmm. But not wearing shoes.
Yeah.
What's the trope, Jeff?
It's a perpetually barefoot protagonist. I'm sorry.
Yep.
If they were all naked, that doesn't count.
I mean,
they're wearing clothes, and she is still barefoot.
They did make a deal about a nudist scene, so...
Oh my gosh, that nudist scene. Okay, do we need more further proof as to why this movie's not for children? There's a nudist camp scene in this movie?
With Tommy Chong voicing a character.
With Tommy Chong. Come on, guys. This is not for kids.
Is that our 80s comedian trope that we have Tommy Chong?
Oh, crap, I didn't even think about that. But yes, that should be. It's been so long since we've had that. Yeah, it totally needs to be that.
You did say you had one other thing?
I had one other thing. I just wanted to. We've kind of already briefly touched on it, but because I know we talked about it with Robin Hood and with Chicken Little, but now that we've seen this movie and we're discussing about it, is this movie in our Robin Hood, Chicken Little shared universe?
So, you want me to answer that?
I can. Actually, let me explain real quick
Yeah.
a little bit more in case anybody listening doesn't know what we're talking about. The movie Robin Hood that we watched, which was back in the 70s, mid 70s or so, way back when, was basically a telling of the Robin Hood tale that involved anthropomorphic animals, and it's a world where it's almost identical to ours, except there was just animals instead of humans.
Right.
And then Chicken Little came around, and it's very similar in that world. Now, a lot of Disney movies do tend to be told from the point of view of animals, but they're living in human worlds.
There's no humans. Yeah.
Right.
1973
Yeah,
Robin
and
Hood, no humans. Chicken Little,
No humans
no
in it.
humans.
No humans except for the live-action clip of Raiders of the Lost Ark, which TC brilliantly theorized away as it's a movie in the world, and it's the equivalent of us watching a movie about anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
They're watching a movie about a human in their world.
Weird.
But weird, huh? This is insane. But the theory that we kind of gleaned off of this that it's online. There's other people out there who would kind of agree with this. But the theory is that Robin Hood takes place in the same world as Chicken Little does, but it just takes place back in medieval times.
Right.
Chicken Little was more of a modern day, maybe like early 2000s. Actually, that one felt a little more like
90s.
70s, 80s, or like 90s. Yeah, actually the 90s because of the references.
Yeah.
So then the theory would be
Lazy,
that because
stupid
this
references. Sorry, continue.
world, it was very bad, stupid references, and that was the movie I was looking forward to. But the theory goes now because Zootopia is the next film we have that obviously takes place in a world very much like ours. There's cars, there's buildings, there's jobs, police officers, there's Lucky Charms, there's all that sort of like iPhones, but it's all animals.
Right.
There are no humans in it. So is this in that same world? One theory, and I do remember we briefly touched on this with Robin Hood way back and when. I'm almost positive we did. But the theory of that our main hero is a red fox.
Designed directly after the model of Robin Hood from the 73 Disney one.
Yep. So the theory is that, and I guess this is also kind of a theory, but I'm leaving this in our discussion. Is this part of that same world? Do you think this is that same universe? It's a little tricky because Zootopia is a made-up area. They're not in like a anthropomorphic New York,
Right.
or anything. Whereas like Robin Hood was very much so supposed to be kind of taking place in London, or not London,
England, Finland.
in
No.
England. Yes, what? That's where all the sharks and dolphins live. But the Finns, it's a joke.
Get outta
great,
here.
moving on. I could do animal puns too.
All right. So
But
does this
so
connect?
yeah, that's my question to you. Do you think it is? Do you think it's part of that world?
I want it to be, but there's one thing. There are no birds in Zootopia. So either the only way then that Robin Hood and Chicken Little, which they can connect, the only way Robin Hood and Chicken Little can connect to Zootopia is if in the Zootopia universe they have created Zootopia and do not allow birds, reptiles, fish, or amphibians through the gates, because there are no birds, reptiles, fish, or amphibians in the entirety of Zootopia. It's just predators and preys. It's just mammals. So because of that, what's the rationalization? If we want this to be a part of the Robin Hood Chicken Little universe, explain that. So that's very disappointing because someone pointed out to me, a buddy I was just hanging out with over the weekend, commented. I was like, "Oh, Robin Hood." He goes, "Nope. I've seen the movie 1,000 times," because he works for Disney. "I've seen the movie 1,000 times. There's no birds, so it can't connect." I'm like, "Ugh, darn you, Matt."
That's fascinating. There is a part of me that feels like Zootopia is, no pun intended, man-made. Like it feels like unintended, mammal-made, I guess you could say, because it's this chunk of land that has very diverse biomes, like butting up against each other. It goes from a jungle directly into a snow biome, with just like a mountain ridge that like divides it. It feels very manufactured. So I'm going on. I'm going on a straight. I'm stretching out here on a limb for it to connect.
Okay.
So a part of me wonders if. So the Robin Hood thing happens. The Robin Hood thing happens back in medieval times. The Chicken Little thing still happens in the 90s. That's a small town, just kind of middle of wherever. Like it very much so could be just middle of America because it feels very middle American. And then you get Zootopia, which feels like it was another continent created to put a lot of these animals on.
Okay.
Because I mean, there's a train that takes you from the outskirts where Judy lives directly into the main city. Like a single line that doesn't appear to stop at any of those other locations, for that matter. Just goes straight.
No one had tickets to those locations.
Apparently. But so like that to me feels like it is created because there's a map on the wall for Zootopia and there's very noticeable just chunks of areas that they can patrol. Also, it can't be super, super big because A, the train gets through it very quickly, and B, they're able to go between those locations during the course of the film, drive to those different locations.
So it's small.
So
what's your theory here?
My theory is that it's no pun, it's a mammal-made, I'm going to say mammal-made, not man-made, but it's a mammal-made island out in the Pacific. So
they made it and just they ostracized any birds from coming.
Go the route of a Jurassic Park. It's covered in a dome.
Okay, I'll allow it because I want this to connect. So the fact that there are no birds there, they just weren't invited.
Yeah, they just weren't invited. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they don't want them there for a particular reason. I mean, why don't they want fish there? There are definitely mammals there in Zootopia that eat fish normally.
They've advanced as a civilization to the point of only eating poultry and fish. That's murder.
They're eating themselves.
You know what, Jeff? It makes perfect sense because Chicken Little is so bad that after that point in history, they decided there couldn't be any more chickens or fish after that. And so they decided Soylent Green is fish and chicken.
Because Chicken Little was so bad, and who was his best friend? Who
was
one of his friends
bowl.
that helped him?
Fish bowl.
A fish in a bowl.
All right, we've cracked the code
Guys,
here, folks.
that was a mic that just dropped. If you didn't hear that, we figured it out. They have oh, man. That's it.
Yep. There you go.
We're good. We're done.
Cool.
We just end the episode right there. I'm good with that. We don't have to.
Well, why don't I head over to Facebook and see what people have to say about this episode before we go over there. So every week before we record, we do toss up the episode for you guys to comment on if you want to address anything you want us to bring up, any questions you might have. So we do have a few comments here. Thank you, as always, everyone who listens and comments. We love interacting with you guys. I still have to go back to last week's and comments, some really great Big Hero 6 comments from our fellow listener friends. But Facebook.com/TopShelfPod, or if you want to hit me up on Twitter, at TC's Big Head, you can hit up Jeff at Random Bell. Yeah. So let's take a look at the comment section here. So first up, we have Brad. Brad, I did mention you earlier. So let's see. Yes, why did they have to have the DreamWorks style music number at the end? I agree. But Brad also says, otherwise, it's great to see Disney take a shot at racism and prejudice while at the same time making a cute, funny animal movie. This was a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. And Brad, as you've just heard us discussing about it, I feel similarly as you have. Jeff, on the other hand, does not.
Sorry, what? I hate this. What?
No, don't you say. Oh,
no, well, I don't hate this movie.
So Thomas, thank you for listening, Thomas, and commenting as always. For whatever reason, Thomas says he's not in love with this film. He's not in love with this one. I'm glad that a talking animal movie exists about racism, but he feels like something ruins the breaking stereotype motif by playing into the broad stereotypes, the Italian mafia, the wolves howling, etc. For comedy, it's entertaining, but he feel like it got too much credit for what it was saying. Racism is bad, duh. He feels like Moana is more cleverly tackles xenophobia and is more subtle clever about it. Let's not discuss Moana right now, but in terms of your feelings, Jeff, do you have any response to Thomas's feelings about the movie?
Nothing off the top of my head.
I think Jeff agrees with you, Thomas.
I agree. It comes down to it. I think I agree.
Schulze says, thank you for commenting, Schulze. I loved that they took such a complex subject, presented it in such a way that most of the audience didn't even know what the movie was truly about. Not talking about kids in the audience, but the adults. and it's hard for me. It's hard for me to think of another movie like this. And yeah, so it's funny. It feels like our listeners are pretty much divided, like you and I, Jeff, in terms of our feelings about the film. Wyatt says, as Disney's first original film of the revival, Zootopia is truly a breath of fresh air. So much creativity, particularly with the world building, and a great set of characters to match. We will agree with you on there. The world that this is set in is just so beautiful. It's worth mentioning again. Just that's why the closing credits bug me so much, because they had a chance to swoop through Zootopia for 5 minutes and they didn't take it. But the first original film of the revival. Now, if we're considering Bolt the beginning of the revival, is this the first original? What about Wreck-It Ralph? Isn't that, or does Wreck-It Ralph not count because it's just homage to the movie?
Well, I mean, I don't know. See, I still feel like that's an original. It's not entirely original.
Yeah.
Original.
I suppose he is onto something that this, from its baseline, the closest things it's even close to is the busy world of Richard Scarry, that anthropomorphic animal city. But yeah, I guess this is because Bolt was based on previous material. Wreck-It Ralph is homage. Tangled is Rapunzel. Frozen is the
Meet the Robinson is based on a book.
Yeah. Okay.
Robinson.
All right.
Yeah,
So maybe you're right. Why? Maybe this is an original, the first original in the library, and I definitely agree with you on the look at the world building here. Natasha says the genius of Zootopia is that it works on two levels. It's a timely and clever examination of prejudices to society, and also an entertaining, funny adventure about furry creatures solving a mystery. Also, did you catch the Breaking Bad reference?
I did.
I didn't catch the Breaking Bad reference the first time I saw this, but once it was pointed out to me, I'm like, oh, that's funny. Walter White? Come on now.
It's like Walter and Jesse are back.
Yep.
Like they make that specific line. Well, and even if they didn't say the line, I probably could have lived without name dropping them. Mm-hmm. Like name dropping the characters, because the fact that they were in a lab and out comes a guy in like a yellow hazmat suit with a mask on,
and they're making a blue chemistry thing.
Exactly. That alone is a nice subtle get it? It's kind of like Breaking Bad. Guys.
I like
it.
it.
What we're doing.
That's a great reference.
And then just the whole like Walter and Jesse are back, and then like you hear they pound on the door, and there's a guy who's like obviously trying to be Walter White, and is trying to be more Heisenberg. Mm-hmm. You know, and he's talking with this like gravelly deep voice. I'm like, no, okay, that's funny. I like it. I liked it. It was funny.
I love it. Thank you for commenting, Natasha. And then David Wilder. I don't recognize the name. If David's a new commenter, thank you for commenting and listening. Plus, they had a twist ending like all them big grown-up movies. LOL. That's my favorite part. As we've discussed, it's interesting that this era of films has so many twist endings to it. And yes, this is definitely another one of those. This was not what you thought it was. The villain is revealed in the end to be Bellwether, the little Jenny. It's Jenny Slate voicing that character, right? I love her.
She's so cute. Her voice is so cute too.
So thank you for listening and commenting, everybody. That's wonderful. Do we have any other questions? Oh, there was a first you missed, Jeff. This is the first movie.
I missed the first.
This is the first movie. This is from our good friend Dig Hi Ho over at Twitter. This is the first movie in this library to utter the phrase "Oh my God." There you go.
Oh wow! I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either. So well noticed there, Dig.
Well, fine, Dig. You want to just go ahead and do this podcast too? Because apparently you're a lot better at it than I am.
Well, was there any other questions? Did you have any other questions, Jeff?
Well, no. The only other question that I have is of all the movies that we have watched so far, TC. Were you purposely leading?
I set you up for it so you could ask.
Okay, good. Well, now it's not the same if I didn't earn it on my own.
Well, of all the movies we've watched, Jeff, in this round of films. So those who might be tuning in for the first time, what we're doing is we're taking each movie groupings, we're grouping them in 10, and we're ranking them 1 through 10 instead of having to rank 1 through 56. And currently in this, we are on movie number 5. And of the 5 movies we've watched so far, Jeff, where do you rank? Yeah, that's right. I threw it around back at you. No,
I cannot believe you
no.
did
Let
that.
let me answer. And I don't. And I'm certain you have your ranking already. But I'll go first since you asked me. So,
Okay.
I, as I've said, as you've heard me talk for the past hour, I do admire this movie. It's a complex script. I love these characters. I love the relationships between these characters. And though it doesn't have the classic quality that the majority of what are considered Disney classics have, that I don't feel that this is necessarily a family film like the Renaissance era, like the Golden Era films that are remembered to this day. Because of that complexity, because of trying to do something different, and I think successfully doing it, I really really enjoy this movie, and I love the look of it. If you can watch this on Blu-ray, if you can watch this in high def,
Yes.
just absorb the beauty of this film. If not the story itself or the characters itself. So I had a tough time ranking this though, because it really what it comes down to is we can watch this or this. What are you going to watch?
Right.
And it was easy for me to bump it up on the list over a couple of the others, but I wasn't quite sure where to place it in terms of Wreck-It Ralph and Big Hero 6, like where to, because that's what it came down to. But I think that really I'm going to put this at my number 2. I'm putting it below Wreck-It Ralph. I love Wreck-It
Okay.
Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph gets me. It tugs at my heartstrings every time. It may not necessarily be as complex of a film in what it's trying to say. It might not even be what some of the classic movies have, but Wreck-It Ralph maintains that number 1 slot. But as opposed to comparing it to Big Hero 6, Big Hero 6, though I did enjoy it last week, much more so than I thought I was going to, I think it misses a lot of opportunities, and it doesn't quite stick. That was something we discussed last week. Why doesn't Big Hero 6 stick? And I'm criticizing Zootopia for similar reasons of not having those classic sticky qualities. But in the grand scheme, I'd rather watch Zootopia over Big Hero 6, and thus makes it my number 2. So there you go.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So now I go to you, Jeff, and see where you place it on your list.
Well, like you said, TC, every time we do these rankings, forever, pretty much since the beginning, I always approach it the same way, which is if it's this, I have this movie or this movie, which would I rather watch?
Right.
And a lot of times that's a good gut reaction for me to know where to rank it on the list. And a lot of times that's how I come up with my final decision, my final ranking, unless there's some very strong, either just personal enjoyment or personal love or personal hatred
That pulls you one way or the
for
other.
the
Yeah,
film that just pulls you one way or it's just like, nope, it's this, no question, no questions asked. But a lot of times it does come down to that. A lot of times it is the one way or another. Now, I mean, I know I spent a lot of this episode kind of just bashing this film because I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Now, it wasn't that I didn't get it. It was that it's not the movie that I'm expecting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm definitely open to new approaches and new styles and new directions, but I still, even though I don't have any kids of my own, I still cannot help to look at this movie from the point of view of a parent or of a family and going, this is supposed to be a Disney movie, and in my head, this is not a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And that kind of hurt it for me when it came down to my ranking of it.
Okay.
Just in my personal enjoyment, what I got out of the film. I'm not gonna lie. There was a portion of this film where I was honestly kind of just bored, and I'm like, okay, let's just get through this. I liked the Godfather reference, but then at the same time, I'm like, why are they doing this? You're better than this. Don't do a Godfather reference or a spoof at this point.
Where are you putting this? I'm listening.
Yeah,
I'm just like scratching my head now, trying to figure out where you're going to put this thing.
So yeah, because you know what my list is.
Yeah.
But it's still not the worst. It's not the worst movie we've watched at all. Like by a mile.
No. Not by.
Not by a mile. But when it comes down to it, there's other movies that we have already watched on this series of 5 that I would put back in a heartbeat and just enjoy a lot more because overall I enjoy those films better. This is going at my number 4.
Did you put this below Frozen?
No.
Okay.
Frozen's my number 4.
Okay.
Frozen is going to be my number 5.
Okay.
No, TC.
I looked away. I had your list in front of me, and I'm just sitting here scratching my chin, staring into the middle distance, wondering, where's Jeff going to put this? So you have Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6,
Winnie
the Pooh, and then below Winnie the Pooh.
And then below Winnie the Pooh. Because, honestly, even though, like, you know, I grew up watching Winnie the Pooh, and it was a short little fun little film, and you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I would still put Winnie the Pooh on before I'd watch Zootopia.
Fair enough. That is very interesting.
It's again, I'm not bashing this film entirely. It is gorgeous looking. I like a lot of the vocal performances. I definitely understand the importance of what it's doing, like the social commentary it's having in place. And the fact that this is a more mature movie, and I'm proud of Disney for trying something different and not continuing to do the same old with every single one of their films. I mean, we've seen that. We've seen them take chances and try things, and a lot of times those chances don't pay out, and they fall a little flat. But I do appreciate what they were doing for the film, which is why it's way higher than Frozen on my list.
There's a big
Frozen
gap.
Is just, yeah, there's like a 25 movie gap between Frozen and Zootopia on my list, and then Zootopia and Winnie the Pooh are maybe like 1 or 2 movies away.
All right, interesting. Okay,
but yeah, it's my number 4, guys.
I had a feeling
I love Wreck-It Ralph and Big Hero 6. I love those movies.
I had a feeling going into this round that our list would be quite different, but we're maintaining our top slot, of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph is the only movie we are agreeing on so far on this list.
Well, I of course am interested to hear what the listeners have to say, and you can hit us up on Facebook, like I said, or you can tweet at us. Let us know if we missed any conversation points about Zootopia, or if there's anything you'd like us to elaborate on. We love getting in the conversations with you guys. I have been having some really fun suggestions for what we should do for our last episode in terms of questions people have about the entire library, little ranking things people want us to do. So as we're approaching what is going to be our finale, if you have any ideas or any final things you want us to talk about, send us. You can tweet at me for those for now, or look for our posting for when we announce our finale if you have any final questions or whatnot. So I'll remind everybody next week when we get to that point, which would be what, Jeff? What are we doing next week?
Well, guys and gals, if you cannot believe this, because I still kind of can't, we are hitting our final movie of the podcast, of the official list as of this moment in time.
Wow.
Number 56. That's it, gang. You know, if not including Wreck-It Ralph 2 that comes out later this year. But right now, it's our final movie, number 56. 2016's the other 2016 movie, Moana.
Moana. Yep.
That's it, and then that's our next week movie. It's gonna be. I've seen Moana. I like Moana better than I like this.
Hold on, let's not get into spoiler territory here. Last week I was completely wrong, as Zootopia was pulled off Netflix, but I do believe at this point in time Moana is on Netflix.
Guys, I'm telling you, somebody from Netflix is listening to this podcast.
I swear to
every time
that has happened more than a half dozen times.
Zootopia. I swear Big Hero 6 was, Wreck-It Ralph was, Tangled was, Princess and the Frog. Like, these movies were on Netflix about a week or two before we got to them, and then they got pulled. And I swear, Moana is... Okay, hold on.
Look right now at this moment. So while Jeff's doing that, if you have not seen Moana in a while, please give it a rewatch and let us know if you have any questions or comments on it when you see the post go up for it. And next week... let us know what if you've been ranking them, which is, I know not everybody is doing, which is perfectly fine. If you have ranked this grouping of 6, toss your list up there. We're always interested to hear what you guys think in terms of where these are placed. And next week we will wrap up the era. We will wrap up the 6 like we've been doing at the wrapping up of the 10. And then following that, we will have our finale episode where we will discuss this library as a whole. So just keep an eye out for that. So Jeff, is Moana currently on Netflix?
Guys, as of right now, at the recording of this episode, Moana is still currently on Netflix.
Let's
now,
keep it there.
I watch these movies on Sunday.
Oh, no.
If I watch this movie, or if I go to find this movie on Sunday it's gone, I am posting it in Facebook for everybody to know that they pulled it.
It is quite possible, Jeff, because it's the end of the month, and tomorrow is the 1st. So there is a chance that Moana will get pulled tomorrow. So if that happens, please seek the movie out and find it. But quick, Jeff, let's watch it right now. Quick, let's wrap this up.
Now.
Okay, you go say goodbyes.
Do a commentary?
Yeah.
We're going to say goodbye? Okay, I thought we were going to do it on the air. Okay. Okay, so thanks everybody for listening, and TC, go ahead and do the thing.
Jeff, thank you for this. I am excited for our episode next week, and if not, a little bit sad that it is coming to that, but we'll get there. So with that being said, this has been a podcast. We have been the people you've been listening to, and this is our sign off.
Congrats, TC. You didn't mess up this week when you dropped your pen.
Yes.
Though, in all fairness, I don't know how. I'm assuming everybody who listens to the podcast listened to the entire episode. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed last week's ending of just the music swelling
and me yelling,
covering us, and you just yelling in the background. Oh man, stuff like that makes me so happy, TC. Happy accidents.
This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.